Good evening, everyone. This is Rucha, and I handle membership engagement and industry initiatives at Nasscom Pune. I, along with my team, welcome you all for today's session on building project management culture, key to improving margins. This webinar is about building a project management culture and knowing how it would help to improve organization revenues, the project margins, and overall customer satisfaction scores. Please join me in welcoming Sandeep Kumar. Sandeep is the founder and CEO at ProductDossier Solutions Private Limited. He has 27 years of experience in building, selling, and marketing enterprise software solutions. His area of specialization includes business transformation, process automation, quote to cash, new product development, professional services, engineering and manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and technology enablement. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Rucha. Thank you for that kind introduction and setting up this webinar. So, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending upon where you are. So today it's a very exciting topic we'll be talking about. Let me just share my screen. All right, so what we'll be talking about is, how to, improve project margins and why project management culture is important for that. Any organization, and especially if we are talking of IT services organization or IT companies, one of the key objectives or metric is that what is my organizational profitability or revenue margins, and also how do I improve my overall revenues for my organization. So this is the key topic we'll be talking about today. And before I move further, it's important that I know whom I'm talking to. So a little bit about you. I would request you please take this poll, and so just the organization you are representing, if you can mention whether it's between 1 and 500 and so on, it'll be great. So yeah, the poll is on now. Please take this. You have to select one of these. I think about 10 seconds more to go. All right. So, Richard, do we have the responses to this? Okay. So we can see that 49% of the organizations are between 1 and 500. So that's good to know. And then there are 24% between 500 to 2000, which is great. And then there are, 2000 to 10,000 and 10,000 and above. So it's a great mix. It's pretty much also mirrors, the kind of organizations we have in IT sector, and that it mirrors that. So that's great. So, and I think it's a good mix so that, when we talk of the issues, people can associate depending upon where they are. Now, moving on, what is this project margin and the culture thing we are talking about? So let me give you a parallel example. When, somebody goes to a doctor and says, I have diabetes, or I'm at least suffering from diabetes. Yeah. The doctor doesn't give just the medicine and then says, you take this and you will be perfect tomorrow morning, right? That doesn't work like that. So what the doctor does is, doctor tries to understand, your lifestyle. What are you doing? Where are you working? Is your job a mobile job, or you are sitting in front of the screen, what kind of dietary do you smoke, and all those things, questions they ask. Try to figure out, what are the issues before they even go on to a course correction and give some solution. So project margins is something very similar. There is no one pill which if any organization take and their margins will improve. To understand what are the areas in which project margins can go down, let us understand these things. So these are some of the systemic issues I have brought it. Like the first one is the cost estimation. If you look at it, before, when we get a new opportunity from a customer, there is a team which does the estimations, and then on top of it, they put markup, and then the proposal goes out. Now, what we have seen is in many organizations, the challenge is in estimation. So people typically do that in an Excel sheet, cost sheet, and the cost rates, the standard cost rate. Sometimes people take the actual salaries, and there is no standard cost master, and there is no consistency across, different people estimating. So what you get is, and sometimes we don't even consider all the cost into it. Like, for example, direct cost, indirect cost. Sometimes, some of the indirect costs like facility cost, overheads, and all those things are not considered. So as a result, my estimation is not optimum. Either it may be too much or too less. And that is why, what I project as my as sold profitability, that may not be accurate. And then when we compare it with the actual profitability, it may not match, and then our margins can also go down. So that's the area I think, first of all, needs a lot of improvement, the estimation process itself. Then the second thing is, once you get the project, once you get a SOW, there are basically very few companies actually are doing the right project setup, where the project manager or the person who is managing the projects, they have the entire visibility as to what is the expected profit margins in this particular project, right? So once they don't know what is the expected profitability, there is a very little chance that they will achieve that. So there is no setup process for a project in terms of financials. What is my revenue forecast? What is my budgeted cost? And then that's the big challenge in the organization. So there is basically no visibility, and then the empowerment is not there. The third thing, which is very important, is the resource forecasting and utilization. Now, this is a key problem, especially in the IT services companies, because what happens is, due to improper forecasting, or there is no proactive forecasting, it's more reactive. There are a lot of times where we've got the purchase orders from the customer, but we don't have people. This phenomena is called billing loss, where you have the PO, but you don't have the people, and that's why you can't bill, right? So this is a huge challenge. And why this challenge coming from? This challenge comes from basically, if you look at it, when all my pipeline, which reaches a fairly, say 70% of the probability, still the hiring team or the RMG team, they don't know that these many projects are coming. So they are not able to plan proactively. And then when the project comes, there are no resources. The second thing is the utilization, right? This is also a big challenge. Now, every company has the bench. And the same time, in parallel, there are project managers who have the projects, who have the POs, but they don't have people. And the challenge is there is no visibility between these two. Project managers can't see in real time what the bench is, and bench owner who has the visibility of the bench in Excel, they can't see where the requirement is. So in that process, you lose time, and then there is a revenue loss and all those things. So this is another key challenge, in the organization today. The fourth one, as I said, that, once you don't have the profitability or the revenues, and then month on month, you are not seeing the actuals on a real-time basis. So you can't make the changes to your project's resources and other parameters. and due to which you can make your project still profitable. So this is another key problem where the visibility is not there in real time. Only, after a month, you will get some report from your ERP system, but by that time, the damage is already done. Then there are some more things like RevRec, billing, and DSO, right? So this RevRec process is also sort of broken in the organization. Today, all of this is done in Excel. And also, sometimes there is a revenue leakage because the timesheet is not filled and all those things, because of which I may recognize less revenue. And from a billing perspective, uh, what happens today is a lot of organizations are spending 10 days before the month end and 10 days after the month end just to compile data, create the bill, then send to the customer. So that takes away precious days, and because of which the DSO is very high. Another challenge in this is because of manual data compilation, there is the billing amount and hours are quite erroneous, and then there is a back and forth between customer and the organization, and you lose more time, and your DSO, which is daily sales outstanding, is also very high. The sixth symptom, I would say, is the change request. In every project, there are a lot of change requests, but today, there is no mechanism actually to document all this. And then some of these change requests actually can be then paid by the customer. But then since there is no regular process, companies do lose out on the revenue, but the work is being done. So you see the profitability will already go down. So this is another key challenge. And then the project delivery part, right? So this is today done in Excel's disparate systems. There is, no consistent way of finding out project quality metrics, project governance, and then as a result, the CSAT score goes down. So this is another area where, once your CSAT scores are down, then obviously it impacts the future revenue and all that. And then predictability and actionable insights into what is happening, so you can make the decision at the right time or take some actionable this thing. So these are some of the symptoms due to which there is a possibility my project profits are down, my overall revenue are down. Now, coming to the next, we talked about the systemic issues. Now, there is, if you look at it, this is a simple process, opportunity to cash. So organization starts with the opportunity, then they make estimation. There is a, you get the SOW, project setup, execution, and project closure, right? So this is the process. Now, in this process, if you see, there are basically three key elements in IT services organization. One is the resource management, the project delivery, and the project financials, and then the opportunities, the estimations, and all. So there is a, first of all, there is a issue of interoperability between these 4 or 5 things happening in the organization. Then there is a collaboration issue because there are multiple people who are working to make this entire cycle, right? Starting with sales, pre-sales, delivery. Now, there is a problem in the collaboration and communication across these different functions in the real time. And because of this delay in communication, incorrect communication, and typically no integration between the project delivery, financials, and resource management, there are a lot of challenges in the organization, not only just duplication of work, but sending the right data to each other for finally billing, etc. And then in any organization today, there are multiple systems like accounting or ERP. There could be a CRM, there could be HRMS, and then the Excel sheets and homegrown utilities. So the data is there, but they may have their own set of data, which is, there is no single version of truth. So these are some of the other challenges which we see, the systemic issues which I talked about in the last slide, and some of these collaboration, communication, and integration issues between the data available in the organization. These are some of the reasons for my lower project profitability. Now, okay, so that brings us to the next poll. where it would be great to know from you, what are the challenges you see in your organization at this moment? And say you can select multiple answers, even all of them, if that is true for your organization. Uh, Please take the poll. All right. So let's see what the results are. Okay. This is quite interesting. So 54%, they say estimation and proposal is the challenge. 49% resource allocation and timesheets, revenue recognition 43%, and project delivery 33%. So I think one thing is clear, that these are the genuine issues which each organization is facing. So it'll be quite interesting to see, how we can resolve this issue. What can we do to kind of fix this issue? So I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. So when I look at, like, coming back to the diabetes example, right? So now the doctor has understood that these are the challenges with this person. Now, what does the doctor do? Uh, in my mind, doctor doesn't just give a pill and says, okay, take this for 30 days and you will be fine. Well, he does that too, but that is not all what he says. So he talks about, this is a sort of the first thing he says is, look, if you want to fix this, you have to change your lifestyle, right? You have to build a different kind of lifestyle than what you have been doing today. He talks of, you have to work towards the fitness, you have to take care of your diet, you have to also take the medicine, and then regular checkups and so on, right? So this is sort of advice he gives. So I think our situation is very similar. The answer to this problem is not one, because there are multiple issues and we have to look at it, how we can do it. The first problem, as I see, is the awareness. Many organizations I speak to, basically, and in the first 20 minutes of the conversation, when I touch upon these topics, typical answer from most of the time is, look, we are pretty sorted, we have everything we need, and I think we don't have a problem. So first is, denial of the problem in the first 20 minutes. So I think it is very important that as an organization, there is a awareness that these are the challenges, and we need to do something about it. That is step number one. And that's a huge change management we have to do, because if I continue to talk to those people for another hour or so, then they start opening up and they say, okay, they do have a problem in estimation, then of course timesheet collection, this. So they open up, and then suddenly there is a very open and frank conversation. So I think as leaders of the organization, this is important. The second thing here is the purpose of the person with diabetes cannot be to bring the values down, right? That cannot be the purpose is to build different lifestyle. So the purpose here is not just to fix the project profitability issue. Purpose is to build a culture which not only will improve the project profitability, top line revenues, and other aspects, but now there is a culture of project management where entire organization is aware that, what are their key responsibilities, what should be their behavior, what should be the norms, and then, magic will happen. So our purpose has to be much bigger than just saying, look, I want to improve the project profitability. That will be one of the outcomes. So this is, as a leaders, like today, there is a lot of talk of digital transformation. And I think that sort of is in line with this bold purpose. And that is where I would say we need to build this digital culture or project management culture. The third thing, obviously, if we want any solution for any problem today, technology cannot be ignored. So it has to be a technological solution, because that is the only thing which is sustainable. So now, what is that solution, and what is the kind of technology we can use, right? So if I go to a little bit more detail in it, because that is what is going to make our purpose and all these things sustainable. Now, typically today, what happens is every organization, there is basically a HRMS software, there is a ERP or accounting system on the right hand side, and then there's a CRM, either there are Salesforce or the Microsofts of the world. So it is available. Now, typically, and remember, we are talking about the solution. So what I'm going to talk to you is that what is my workflow? How does information exchange from one point to another and all of those things? So now in the where we are actually executing our projects, right? So there is an organization. Now in organization, there is basically different BUs, or some people call them practices or line of business. So there is a different terminology. So all of those are in the center. Then there are different regions, North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, and so on. And then there are different industry verticals. So it's an organization mapping here. Then what happens is, in the life of IT services company, there is a new opportunity which gets basically tracked in the CRM system. Once it reaches a certain maturity level, the salespeople today call upon the pre-sales or the delivery to do a estimation and then the proposal making, right? And today, this particular collaboration or this particular communication is happening either in the email or phone calls. So there is no really a good way of handshake here. And so where, and the delivery team is also making these cost sheets in ad hoc, Excel sheets, etc. There is no one digital platform where there is a standard cost master, where there are different cost categories, where people can just go and say, look, I need 4 people of A grade with this particular skill, and automatically the cost pops up. And then they can say, how many people they need in first month, second month, third month, etc. There is a ramp up, ramp down. So if there is no such thing available there, and then automatically calculating all the other costs like travel, hardware, software, and even indirect costs like office costs or overheads, etc. So I think that is one of the challenge. We need a digital connect between a CRM and a estimation. Now, another thing, like we talked of, uh, is the resource forecasting. Now, once all these opportunities reaches a 70% probability, it's a good practice to do a soft booking of resources, or at least inform the RMG or the talent acquisition teams, look, that we would be needing this in probably 30 days from now, so that those teams have 30 days proactive notice, and they can start working on either identifying from the internal pool or search in the outside market, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have the but you don't have the resources. So this resource forecasting from the pipeline, from the opportunities, it's a missing link in every single organization today. So this sort of connection, digital connection, is required right from the HRMS system, from where we can pull the employee master, and then opportunity where you can do a soft booking at 70% probability of that. Now there is a back and forth between customer and the the sales team, where they are negotiating on the proposal, and then sales team is collaborating with the delivery in the back end, to make multiple versions of the same proposal, right? So all of this is today done in email and can be digitized and should be digitized. Then after a few negotiations, the win is announced, you get the customer SOW. Now, once you get the SOW and you have the as sold data, today, obviously, the as sold data is in some Excel sheets, which is never referred again, and just directly a project is created. What we also see is that if from as sold data and the SOW, can you create now a delivery project? The benefit are twofold here. One, you will have the as sold data, and then you can compare that what is your actual profitability. And if there is any gap, you can do that analysis and probably fix it the next time. So there is a sort of the culture is building up. And then, in this today, the practice is whenever you get the project, there is a lot of focus on the engineering deliverables, that when you have to deliver, what you have to deliver. But there is very little focus on what are my billing milestones, how are my billing milestones linked with my engineering milestones, right? So this linkage is completely missing. These are hands that don't talk to each other. So we need to bring that linkage between the financials and the engineering, so that I can not only just do a revenue recognition in the right time, but I can also look for change request, I can bill the customer in time. So there is basically my cash flow is improved. And then at the same time, now there is a ERP, so there is a connection there. And then this is very important, the resource allocation. Today, when I talk to a lot of organization, their practice is to do resource allocation via Excel. So there is one person who is maintaining that Excel, that this person is working in this project from this date to this date. But what happens over time is, the Excel is always not in sync with the reality. So there is no real visibility of the bench, and because of which our resource utilization is not improving. And we are not only having billing losses, but our utilization is also down. So there has to be a digital way that as soon as the project gets created or a new SOW, there is a request from project manager to the RMG via digital collaboration, and RMG is able to find the right resources. So this is another problem here is people are not worried about is that when you allocate a resource today, the only thinking is that there is a demand, just allocate any resource, right? Now, sometimes what happens, you allocate a very expensive resource to a lower bill rate job. And because of which my profitability definitely is going to come down. So it is very important that at the time of allocation, I do the right allocation. And also sometimes project managers or, there are a lot of, they don't release projects and they know that these 5 people are good, but they are never worried about, what will be my profitability. So I think all this visibility has to come, and this is all part of building the culture. Now, once the project goes into execution, now I have the resources, I have the project set up, I know what is my revenue forecast, what is my budget, and then month on month planned profitability. Then, today, a lot of these, I see very simple thing like timesheet. This is a huge challenge because in a customer place, some people are filling timesheet in customer systems, some people are filling timesheet in system A, some are doing even in Excel sheets. And this becomes a nightmare for any organization to collate all this data, because you will need to do that if you want to do billing in time and the right billing. So as simple as thing like timesheet, people, and the reason are multifold, because people see timesheet as just an exercise of filling time, like 8 hours every day. That is not right. You have to fill timesheet against the right bill rate. Like in a project, if I have 4 bill rates, 20, 30, 40, $50 per hour, then which resource is working in which bill rate, it has to be clear from day zero, right? And that has to be clear at the time of allocation. So if that process is done right, then this reporting or collation of data for billing becomes like a breeze. So all of those things have to be managed, and then the delivery of the project, creating tasks, and all those things have to be done in a quality matrix, tracking risk registers of issues. Like there are a lot of meetings in every project, but what I see is these minutes of the meeting are done in the Excel sheet, but then, when I'm doing the next meeting, I don't know what happened to those action items. So there is no digital record of all those minutes of the meeting, change requests. So a lot of those things I think needs to be done. This will help you improve the customer CSAT scores, but also do things more efficiently, so that you don't spend more time and you don't spend more cost in doing the same activity. And then there are integrations with the accounting system. It has to be done today. It's all manual thing, duplication of data. And then in the end, there is a project closure. There is an opportunity to do what are the lessons learned. Today, this practice is not there in many organizations. And then, final P&L, etc., and do some analysis as to why my profitability is down, and then what can I do to fix these problems next time around, because this is what will strengthen my processes, and this will it's all a part of the culture building, right? So this is, then there is a project governance throughout, there is a analytics, and then if you want to build more confidence, you can even share some of this data with your customer through customer portal. So this is, a typical workflow what we have. And if any organization in my mind can work on this kind of a blueprint for digital transformation, there is a very, very high chance that, not only I will improve my project profitability, but also the project revenues, also the customer CSAT. Now, I want to give you a little bit more visualization on what I'm talking about. So I've got some, images where you will be able to see whatever I'm saying here. So this is, just a opportunity link. Since we start with the opportunity, so you can see that these are the opportunities here where, this can be integrated from your CRM system, etc. And you can see that there is a basically you can see that we can even capture the the CRM opportunity ID here. So this can be all automated. Now, once this thing gets created at a certain maturity level of the opportunity, and the delivery and the pre-sales people have access to it, then what they can do is they can start actually doing the, as I said, digital margin calculator, where not only, so they are doing the cost planning, and then they are doing the revenue planning. And this is all done using standard cost masters, etc., which is my, and by the way, at the time of opportunity, if pre-sales people, that sales people can see what is my gross margin and net margins before even I give it to the, and all the analytics for cash flow, etc., this makes it very visible. Now, this is the cost estimation. So what I was talking about, if you have a digital platform like this, where you can say, okay, I need grade A people, grade B people, and automatically this cost master is coming, where everybody is using the same cost master for a given duration, and this is controlled by the finance. Now, my estimations, as far as I'm taking, everybody is taking a uniform cost, right? And then I can say how many people I need in July, how many people I need in August, etc. And then there are some other costs like software, some overheads, buffer, etc. So we can build templates and standardize this. So there is a very good chance that my estimation is very close to the exact one. And then if my project shows 40% profitability, that is nearly the right number. So that's the another thing. Now, this is the, when I talked of different departments, right? And how do they collaborate? So one needs to have a workflows where they can send information digitally, and all the approvals. Today, I see a lot of challenge that, the CEO is told just 1 hour before sending the project proposal that you have to review and give your approval, right? So I think if we have workflows like this, if we have business rules inbuilt into the software, then this becomes much easier. But these kind of workflows for collaboration between within the department and also across departments, this would be very useful, makes it very efficient, And the best part I like of these workflows is, if done right, is the basically right first time, right? FTR, first time right. Because what happens, we spend a lot of time and energy in reworking. And why reworking? Because the system doesn't tell me at what first stage what all should be done. So in the heat of the moment and without completing 100%, this person sends the information to the next level, and then there is a back and forth. So we can avoid such back and forth if we configure these workflows with right business rules. Then this is like I was talking of the analytics. So you can, before you give out any proposal, you can even see what my cash flow looks like. Am I investing upfront, or I'm always cash flow positive? So this makes the, at least even if it is not, then you can tell the customer that there is an upfront investment from our side, and you can negotiate from that point. This is, imagine now, not only I am seeing the P&L of the project, of the opportunity, I am also seeing what kind of resources I have given, what is my ramp up, ramp down. So the whole point is that it becomes so visual, and then if there are any errors, it can be tracked and fixed right in the opportunity phase. This is now I am from the opportunity. We have won the opportunity. We are in the project space. So you can see now the project gets created automatically from the opportunity. So all the information in the opportunity gets automatically transferred here, including the as sold data, right? Because at the time of opportunity, if you see here, my profitability is 76%. So this is my starting point. And now during the course of the project, if I change my plan and ask for more budget, my profitability may come down, and there may be a reason for that. So we are tracking all that. And this is part of the culture building, because now I have the data to do analysis and find out what happened. Either my estimation was wrong or my efficiency was not up to the mark. And then I can find the corrective solution. So this is again, the margin calculator copied from the opportunity to project. And now my project is set up. I know my project planned financials. Now there is a need of resource allocation. So this time there is as I said, there could be a digital connect between the project manager and the RMG teams to basically request and allocate resources instead of managing it in Excel. So project manager knows that what are this blue bar, it is showing the allocation in the project. And the green bar, it is showing the utilization, that how much of that person has filled timesheet in that project. So you can compare that whether you are utilizing the person 100% in your project or not. So this kind of visibility and puts extra visibility to project manager, and they make sure that all of my resources are billable. And wherever I have the need and don't have the resources, that can be done by looking at this global resource workbench. Now, as a project manager, imagine if he has a screen or she has a screen where they can find out that this particular skill, how many resources I have and who are available, who are on bench, right? So everything blank here, what you see is they are not allocated to any project. So then, and if they match with the requirements, skill requirements, I can definitely request RMG to allocate. This will reduce my billing loss. This visibility is available to the salespeople, where they can see what are the people available, and then they can go and talk to the customer and do some extra selling. So lot of ways, as long as we make this visibility to everybody, every stakeholder. Okay, so this is now the resources are there, the project is set up. Next is the delivery. So while many people are doing different systems, including Microsoft Project, but if you have an integrated project planner, that will be better, where you can do multiple kinds of, whether it's agile, waterfall, ticketing based system, or work packages. So there are multiple, execution methodologies followed. And if we have all of that in one integrated system, this will help, doing our task more efficiently and making projects more profitable. So like you can see, these are like the Gantt charts or Kanban boards, etc. Once these tasks planned and assigned to the people allocated, Now, the next is, can I have an integrated timesheet where, person when they log in, they see what are the tasks assigned to them and they can fill timesheet against it. They can, if they have worked in multiple projects, all of this is happening in one screen. And also very important, they don't have to worry about as which bill rate, because at the time of allocation, this is already taken care. So they just fill timesheet, making sure they have filled 8 hours of their time every day across different activities, billable, non-billable, etc. And then, they are done. So this is how timesheets can be integrated. This is just one example of your bench, where you can see your bench in real time. You can see what is the aging of the bench. So now this is very, very important because there is a cost associated with it. So if you can publish that cost by the business unit or the practice, then there will be some action, because like you are seeing that you are losing money on the table. What can you do about it? So today, even this is not available in real time. Now, once people have filled timesheet and the project progresses, and if there is a visibility on planned cost versus the actual cost month on month, right? So that will give project manager a very good idea if they are spending more, as to why they are spending more. Do they have expensive people in the project? Or if they are spending less, that means there are not enough people and they will be having billing loss. So that is a real-time visibility. If project managers, this will empower them to really act like a project manager and not just managing resources, but they are like CEO of their own project, right? Because P&L is their responsibility. Then there is basically a revenue side where they can now see also what is my planned revenue every month, what is my actual revenue, and if I am having a billing loss, or what is the reason, and then they can take corrective action. So we have information both on the cost and the revenue side. And then this is like, you can see what is my YTD data, commercial data, what is my year data, etc. And then month on month graphical. So these are just examples on how we can build a digital solution, which is, ending end-to-end process flow, integrating different systems, and there is no duplication, and creating a single version of truth, and empowering the project manager to be the CEO of their own projects, so that our project profitability, revenue, etc., and customer satisfaction are optimized. So okay, so that brings me to the third poll here. Now that we talked about this solution, curious to know as to how our audience is doing today. So this is the last poll, and again you can select more than one answers here. So yeah, please go on. All right. Can't wait my excitement to see what the results are. Okay, this is exciting. So 45% still use a lot of Excel and homegrown tools, project software for project tasks. So yeah, okay, so that's a pretty decent number, and I expected that, because a lot of delivery things are, people are doing it. Software for resource allocation 50%, and then project financials is the laggard with 27%. And rightly, that's exactly could be the reason why our project profitabilities are lower, and this clearly shows that data. So that great, that corroborates with what we are talking about. Okay, so moving on, like we talked of, awareness, the purpose, what is the digital solution, and in my mind, digitalization it's absolutely important. Without it, you can't achieve it, because that's the only way to make it sustainable. Now, coming to my, we talked a little bit about empowerment. Today, I see that, the financial information is available with only a few people who are not working 24/7 with the projects. And that is why they can't do much, right? They can only review what are the numbers, what is the data. But to improve that, they have limited bandwidth. Who can improve is person who stays 24/7 with the project, right? And that is the project manager or the project team or the senior leaders of the project. So there is a need to empower them. There is a need to change the mindset that, it's project manager is just not responsible for the engineering aspect, but they should be empowered with the financial too. And this is again part of the empowerment and culture building. I have seen remarkable results for organizations who have gone ahead and you become more transparent, empowered. Then that person has really created a lot of good results. And as a result, organization has benefit. Then there is a, empathy when and this is again bringing back to that diabetes example. That person, of course, they are ready to sort of change their lifestyle, everything, but it's not easy, right? It's not easy to stay away from your favorite foods every single day. So we need to show some empathy. There will be, mistakes. There would be turnarounds, but we need to be persistent in our approach. That you look, it's not easy, but we will build this culture. We have a purpose. So that has to be a lot of empathy. There has to be a lot of hand holding, because this digitalization or culture, it is more than anything else. It is about people change management. It is about, helping them do their jobs better. And empathy, I think, plays a significant role in that. And the last thing I would talk about is, the journey. It's not like a overnight thing. As I said, 30 days program and you will be done and dusted. No, it's a journey which you have to start, and you will keep improving. There'll be a lot of learning. What you are doing today, the digitalization, 6 months later, your entire team will be talking of very different problems. They will be talking of, because the already in the first 6 months they would have, solved some of the basic things. Now they are hungry to do solve more, because not only they have solved the earlier things, but they now also are aware of the next set of problems. And that is where the organization maturity happens, the process maturity happens. And so leaders or anybody who is getting onto this initiative, they have to understand it's a journey, and not no, a transactional thing that I buy this, I do this, and I'm done. So this is another part of the, very important piece of the approach or the solution, which, so in my mind, if you do all of these things at the same time and take this as a journey, there is no question that those organizations will go on to build, something which is sustainable, something which is creating exponential value. And my last slide, before we open to Q&A, is, some of the numerical data or quantitative data which we have experienced with our some of the companies I know is, doing all this, their resource utilization has improved by 2 to 5%. And this 2 to 5 number may look small, but this has resulted in, there is a additional revenue of $1 million to $5 million, depending upon, size of the organization. So say from 1,000 people to, 5,000 people. And similarly, their project margins can go, and you can have a better money up to $4 million. There is a improved governance, and this will lead to better customer satisfaction scores, which are very useful, very required to get additional revenue year after year. And this will create a single version of truth. It'll make you more efficient, and people will be able to trust the data. So my conversations will now be more meaningful, and we'll be able to take some decisions for the organization. So this will act as a growth driver. And finally, you will end up building the culture which will create sustainable and exponential value for the organization. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the this webinar. Uh, I hope it was useful for you. I really enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your attention.
So we do have our first question. Once the margins are freezed with the selected project team, is a change in the team members factored in? And will this be handled with a recalculated margin?
Absolutely, it's a great question. So what happens is when we freeze the margins based on different roles, right? So now put together, suppose we've got $100,000 as my budget. Now what happens is the software should allow you to change the mix of the people as long as you don't cross that 100,000 in your budget, because sometimes some project managers are very innovative, and especially in the fixed price projects, etc. So they may change the mix during the course of the project execution. So the digital platform which you should build should ensure that as long as I don't cross that 100,000, I don't have to worry about it. But the moment I go beyond, and then you have to take a revision of your budget and take approvals, and obviously that will bring down your end margins.
Thank you, Sandeep. We have our next question. What is the biggest challenge in changing the legacy mindset?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's like this. There are always some early adopters, right, who want to be who are ahead of anybody else. So they will sort of adopt it, and then there are others who will follow them, and then there are laggards. So after 50% people have done it, then they will wake up. And so I think there is no single answer to that, but it's a you have to basically bring in that change, right? The first part of the digital transformation in my mind is the awareness. So there is no, but I think there are today a lot of success stories are there. So it is probably when you see somebody else's success, and then your mind starts changing. So instead of just educating that if you do this, this will happen, we should try and show, look, this organization has done it, and these are the results. And another way I feel is when you request a big change for anybody with the legacy mindset, they will probably going to say no. So our effort should be to do step by step. Take a small problem, try to fix that, and show the results. And this will probably help you in changing the mindsets. I have deployed this trick, second trick I'm talking about. Tiny initiative, but show the success. This will have minimal investment from your time, from money, and I think that will work.
Thank you, Sandeep. The next question is, what are the integrations available to put in data from multiple existing tools like an HRMS?
Yeah, so today, like I showed you, it has to be an integrated system, and it's a possibility to bring employee master from the HRMS. That is not a big task. It is possible to bring if you are using the leave management in HRMS. So you can bring in the leaves, because that data is required here to find out the availability or the resource utilization. There are a lot of other integrations you can do. Like, for example, if you do a resource request, and if there is no resource available within your pool, then you can even create a new hiring request in your hiring system. So there are a lot of touch points, I can think of. And technology wise, it's all possible today.
All right. Next question. Should the delivery be part of the proposal when we perform due diligence and prepare proposal for the clients? Generally, we put our proposal based on our organization benchmark, but sometimes we see the delivery team is not aligned with our expectations.
Yes. So absolutely, delivery should be. We should basically do that, because delivery has to execute. It's like telling the kid, that you should do MBBS, but not taking their, they're into confidence and asking them to do MBBS. That will not work. So delivery should be a part of the proposal exercise, estimation exercise, and that way they know what is the reality. They have created the estimate, so they'll be equally responsible if those are not met.
All right, thank you. The next question is, can you give an example of resource planning required in project management in a manufacturing company?
Uh, Sorry, say it again. Resource planning in manufacturing company. That's what you
Yes,
said?
can you give an example of a resource planning required in project management in a manufacturing company?
Yeah, in a manufacturing company, actually, there are two kinds of resources. It's one is the human resources, where if you are doing new product development, so which people are working in which projects and what is your capacity versus what is required. So can you take up more tasks? Like there are cases where either automotive. So suppose you are a automotive part supplier or a pharmaceutical new product development, then you are doing multiple projects and you have limited capacity. So there has to be a basically match between the capacity and the work you can do. And then there is also in manufacturing one type of asset which is non-human. Your machines and all those things are also equally important. So I think today people are struggling with this problem, but there is a solution.
All right. The next question. With forecasting possible, will it also show the impact on project timelines, considering the change in resource loading, allowing management to provide the best mix of resource?
Uh, Say it again, Rucha, one more time.
Yes. With forecasting possible, will it also show the impact on project timelines, considering the change in resource allocation?
Yeah, absolutely. If forecasting is done well of the resources, so there are two kinds of projects. One is the T&M and another one is the fixed price project. So obviously, if you have done the forecasting and you have resources available month after month, then it will show you the project is finishing on time, because it's a T&M. So, you can't reduce the time really. But if it's in a fixed price project and if forecasting is done right, and then the resources are allocated on within the as per the forecasting, or even more resources are allocated, you can even reduce the timeline. So certainly it shows the impact.
All right. The next question. Due to mergers and acquisitions, there are multiple systems and practices, which leads to numerous complexities, and it takes a long time to integrate and digitize. In your experience, how have organizations handled this culture building and digitization after mergers?
A great question, and I think this is one of the reasons why you should have systems, because when you do M&A, right, the purpose is to extract value out of that M&A or that acquisition. But what happens is, due to the problem what you are saying, Richa, that value is lost, because you always end up just managing the data and the people. So once you have systems like this, our goal is that we have to bring that other entity onto this set of systems, because you can't have, after a certain time, you can't have multiple systems. So one of our customer, I can give a use case. They did almost 10 acquisitions in the last 7 or 8 years. And what they did, every time they acquire a company, they made a plan that within the next 18 to 24 months, they have to bring the acquired company onto this system, right? And then everybody worked towards that. There was a data migration. There was a effort to be done, but they had built a template. And once everybody came to this system, because there are already a culture built, everybody followed it. You didn't have to do much. and they extracted the value out of that acquisition and not spend too much time on just managing these issues. So absolutely great use case.
Thanks, Sandeep. The next one, we'll just take this last question because we have already crossed 5 p.m. What strategies can be used to manage our budget in better way when we have to when we have changes in scope, resources, technologies, etc.?
Yeah. So basically, when I know that, especially in the first time projects, etc., there is a lot of changes happening. And that's where, systems like this, even if whenever I am adding resource and then I know that my budget is going up. So first of all, there is a awareness. And then it also tells me that next time, so you may not be able to do much in that project, but there is a lot of learning from this. And if you can put it into your next projects of similar type, I think there is a huge upside you can bring in.
All right. Thank you, Sandeep, so much. We do have a lot of questions pouring in, but we have to, consider the time constraints also that we have. Sure. Everyone, in the interest of time, the queries which we could not answer, you can please write down your queries at pune@nasscom.in, and we will get all of them answered for sure. Sandeep, thank you very much for an insightful session. It was actually a fantastic session, and thank you everyone for attending it. And please help us with the feedback post this webinar. Your feedback is really valuable to us. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Richa, for hosting it. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep.